Good morning, coffee drinkers. It is another episode of Coffee with Brent. Trying to do it before the workday hits. And I wanted to share something with you. So this morning I'm reading through this 1 year chronological Bible, and it started in First Chronicles this morning. If you've never read the Bible, there's parts of First Chronicles that can be pretty mind-numbing. It's, genealogies of who begat who begat who. And then there's this interruption in it in chapter 4. And actually, I read this and I thought, wow, yeah, the prayer of Jabez. You guys remember that was about 10 years ago. And I looked it up, and it was actually 20 years ago. In the year 2000, Bruce Wilkinson wrote this book called The Prayer of Jabez, How to Live a Blessed Life, or whatever that was, and got a lot of media interest. People, everybody wanted the blessed life. But I thought I'd read this, and it says, "Now Jabez was more honorable than his brothers, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bore him in pain," or I bore him in pain. "And Jabez called on the God of Israel, saying, Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I might not cause pain." So God granted him what he requested. Jabez just sounds like a funny little name. Imagine if you were named, "He caused me pain," or "She caused me pain." That's what his name meant. And we don't know anything about his father. If you've read the book, this kind of goes into this. It's interesting that we hear about the mother, not so much about the father. Was the father not in the picture? Why did the mother name him? Whatever. But he says, "Oh, that you would bless me indeed." And there's a lot to that he wants God's favor, but like he really wants God's favor. And I think a lot of times where, Lord, bless me, bless this food. We're not like, God, I really need you to bless this food. I really need your favor on this. But the thing about Jabez, that in this whole genealogy that stands out, he's not like his brothers, his relatives, is that he really does want that. So that stood out to me. He says, enlarge my territory. He says, so enlarge my territory. So that's like sphere of influence, like the opportunities you have to impact people. But like right along with that, he doesn't want to do it without the next thing. He says that your hand would be with me. So like I get that, right? Like, because you don't want to have more responsibility and not be able to take care of it. Kind of reminds me of the Peter principle. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I think it's the Peter principle. They say they promote, corporations promote people to the level of incompetence. So if they're good at this, they promote them to this position. And if they're good at that, they promote them this position. And if they're no longer good, they don't promote them anymore. So you get a position that you're in, but you're not very well qualified to handle and serve in. So he says, hey, that you would enlarge my territory and your hand would be with me. And then the next thing is, and that you would keep me from evil, that I might not cause pain. And, it's not quite clear if he means like keep me from evil, like coming and experiencing evil from other people, or himself doing evil, but he doesn't want to cause pain. And I don't know, that just strikes me, like he maybe he thinks he has caused pain in the past, and he doesn't want to do that anymore. I think that's pretty noble. It's a pretty good thing. And that's the other thing about this, is it reminds me of the Lord's Prayer, because towards the end of the Lord's Prayer, it says, and deliver us from evil. So there's evil in the world, and I think it's sometimes unclear. Is it? Sometimes it's a little bit in us. Sometimes it's out. Sometimes it's moral evil. Sometimes maybe it's natural evil. Sometimes it's the scheming. Sometimes it's our desires and our wants and our attitudes. And anyway, I just think it's interesting that in two famous prayers in the Bible, prayer of Jabez and the Lord's Prayer. There's both this, protection from evil. And I'm just one guy interpreting it. I did go to seminary. I do have a Master of Divinity. But I am just one guy's voice in this. I don't think this is like evil from gargoyles and dragons and stuff like that. I think it's like this insidious forces that would cause ultimate pain and ultimate suffering, not just temporary pain and temporary suffering. And he doesn't want to cause pain to other people. Jabez doesn't. So, wow, time flies. I was going to say, it just seemed like 10 years ago that this book was around. No, it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago. So I may pick it up and read it again. But the prayers again, oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me, and that you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain. So God granted him what he requested. Maybe that could be our prayer today as you're going through this pandemic. Think about it. It's by the way, it's 1 Chronicles 4, verses 9 through 10. So there you go, 2 verses in the Bible if you want to look it up. Hey, have a great Wednesday.